This is the OEX camping stove, and it's very similar in design to the market leading MSR Windburner. However, it's only a third of the price. So today I'm going to be seeing how this budget stove compares to the market leader. So we'll start with the price. At the moment you can pick up the OEX Heiro for around £42, £42.50, whilst the MSR Windburner ranges somewhere between £140 and £170. I've had this stove since spring 2023, and I originally compared it to the Jetboil Zip because they're around similar sort of sizes. However, both of these stoves pride themselves in being extremely windproof, so I thought it'd be a good idea to put them up against each other today. So I'll start off with the size. Both of these are very compact stoves. They have the pot, lid, and you can store the burner and a gas canister inside. As you can see, they're both very similar in diameter and in height. However, the MSR Windburner claims to be 1 litre in capacity, whereas the OEX is only 600 millilitres in capacity. But I will argue that in a little bit when we get the pot set up. There is not a lot of difference between these two stoves when it comes to weight. The MSR weighs in at 430 grams, where the OEX comes in at 370 grams. I don't use it and I haven't brought it with me, but the OEX does come supplied with one of these mesh kind of bags, where you don't get that with the MSR Windburner. But you do get a little measuring cup or drinking cup with the MSR. You don't get that with the OEX. Both stoves have a cosy or neoprene little sleeve on the outside, so you can pick the stove up even when it's hot. The handles on the OEX are metal handles that fold in and out, whereas on the MSR it's one of these. I don't really like it, to be honest with you. It's a little material with a little bit of stiff card or something inside. It does a job, but I actually prefer a proper pair of handles. However, you know, if they did have some sort of rubber silicone sleeve on there, it would make it a little bit better. So inside these pots we've got a gas canister, we've got the burner. The MSR does come with a canister support as well. The OEX doesn't come with that. However, have a listen. So this is the OEX. Hardly any rattle at all. But the MSR, it's a much noisier stove. You could obviously put a little bit of rag around your canister or your burner just to stop that. There is a little small rag that comes with the burner as well. I will show you that in a minute. So the cup on the MSR does have measurements on it. So you've got 120, 240, 360, and it's also got fluid ounces on there as well. It's quite flexible, strong. I can't see it breaking or anything like that. So both of these stoves have a heat exchanger on the bottom, which makes them very efficient when it comes to gas. The MSR, as you can see, it's like a twisted helicoil in there. However, the OEX has got more of a straight heat exchanger, more like the Jetboils really. But all of that is enclosed inside here, so that is what makes these stoves really windproof. When you see, you know, there is breathability, so the stove can do its thing. It needs oxygen obviously, but it's all protected from the wind. We'll start off setting up the OEX. So take off the lid. The lid has got a mouthpiece, mouth guard on there, so you can drink your hot coffee or whatever it would be. It's also got a strainer. There's a breathing hole there for steam to come off. You can actually you can fit the MSR's canister support in there and the lid will go on. Whoa! Windy today. Good test for it. So that fits on there, no rattle again. However, you can't fit the OEX one in there. So anyway, it's up to you if you want to use a canister support with it. Put that one back in there before it blows away. Right, so in here we can get 100 gram, is it 100 gram, 110 gram, not sure, gas canister. You also get the burner for the stove. Valve regulator, that just folds in and out. And then just screw it on top. That's the stove set up. If you wanted to, obviously you can give yourself that little bit of extra stability, and just, there we go. And the pot just fits on top. You can twist it to lock it into place. However, most of the time I just rest it on there so it's easy to get it on and off. Move that to one side. The wind burner, pretty much the same really. Gas canister inside. This is a very different burner. I will explain in a moment. That's the little bit of cloth that comes with it. That just stops the burner scratching the bottom of your pot. Again, just pull out the valve adjuster. Screw the stove onto the canister. Give yourself that little bit of extra support. There we go. And then the pot just fits on top. Again, you can lock it in place by twisting it or just rest it on top. Now, I'll give you a closer look at the different burner types. So the MSR burner is what they call their radiant burner. So it more like glows and throws off radiation as opposed to a flame that burns quite high. And the OEX stove is more of a traditional style burner where the flame will come up here. So quite different technologies when it comes to the burner, but both of them are very efficient, which we may as well get them boiling some water and see what they can do. So I've measured out exactly 2 lots of 500 ml. We'll get that in the pot. There are markers inside of the pot as well. I'm going to put the lid on just to help with the boiling. Now for the OEX. This pot has got markers in it as well. So both of the lids fit on really well, quite tight in fact. Let me move these out the way a second. So when it comes to lighting the stove, the MSR doesn't come with a built-in igniter. And although these stoves are incredibly windproof, sometimes lighting it when it's windy is quite difficult because it seems to blow out straight away. The stove is lit there. You can see the little tiny red wire. That indicates that the stove is lit properly. I'll just turn that off again a second, not to waste too much fuel. The OEX has got a built-in piezo igniter. Which works really well. That one you can see the flame is much higher. So before we move on, I quickly want to give a shout out to Squarespace, who's kindly sponsored the video today. If you don't know who Squarespace are, they are the #1 place to go if you want to have a go at building a website by yourself. So we've actually got 2 websites now. One for promoting the YouTube channel and all of the outdoor stuff. And Joe's built one, Happy Creative Mind, which she uses to sell all of her artwork and paintings online. It's really easy to do. There's loads of different templates. All you have to do is upload your own photos, add your own text, and then just tweak things around a little bit, and then within a couple of hours you've got a website. There's loads of different features. You can keep track on your analytics. We use it for email marketing, things like that. Use it for online video courses, subscription services. The sky's the limit. So if you fancy having a go at building a website of your own, then click the link in the description below or head over to squarespace.com/Paul Messner. You'll get a totally free trial and then 10% off your first purchase. Let's get them both fired up properly, see how fast we can boil some water. That's lit. Get them both turned up. So the OEX is quite a bit noisier than the MSR. Flames on both stoves are really well protected from the wind. We're just over a minute in, there's a little bit of action from both stoves. Just going to peel off the lid just a little bit, just so we can see it when it boils. Oh. I know that's not the most efficient way to do it, but this isn't an exact science. Let's have a little peek. Like 2 minutes 44. That is a raging boil. Same on the MSR as well. There's literally less than 10 seconds between the two. Very rapid boil times there. Oh. As that will just show you. I was just going to take a little bit of video of the trees. So when it comes to boil times then, very little between these two. And that was £42. That is cheapest, £140. Although there is more to it than that. The MSR has got a micro regulator in there, so it will keep a constant gas pressure even if you're running low on fuel, or maybe if the temperature drops a little bit. The OEX does claim to have a regulator, but it doesn't say that it is a pressure regulator, so I don't think that it's actually got one fitted on this stove. Both of these stoves are pretty much all or nothing when it comes to boiling. You can simmer slightly, so you can, reduce the amount of heat that goes to the radiant burner and to this burner here. So maybe you'd get away with simmering some soup or something like that. But one area where it does really fall down is when it comes to frying. So neither of these stoves out of the box are compatible with a regular frying pan. There's no pot support that goes on there, and if you put this directly on top, it just snuffs out the flame. Same on this one, it just doesn't work. You can buy aftermarket pot supports that you can maybe get to fit these, but it's not ideal for this type of stove, to be honest with you. MSR do their own Windburner frying pan, which has got this kind of bottom on it on a frying pan, but it's just in the center there, and it fits on there, and it's usually, well, it's used just for this type of stove only, so no good for using on any of your other stoves. And it's really expensive. I think it's about £70 for the frying pan, and it doesn't distribute the heat really well. It tends to just cook in the center. So let's summarize a little bit, shall we? We've got the OEX Heiro, which is £42 at the moment. Go Outdoors, what shall we say, buggers when it comes to their pricing. So the actual RRP on this is £90. You have to be a member to get the discounted price of £42, and it might not be £42 all of the time. However, they are selling it through the Go Outdoors on Amazon for £42, so you can get it delivered that way as well. The MSR, you can buy this pretty much anywhere. Go Outdoors as well. I think this is £180 at Go Outdoors, although they will price match it to any of the other sites that you can find. They're very different burner types, so I actually really like the radiant burners at the moment. They do give off quite a lot of heat. I've been using the Fire Maple Mars one, which is incredibly hot, but it's really bulky as well, so something around this size for that is that type of stove would be great. But yeah, there's not a huge amount of difference. So I mentioned that this one is a 1 litre capacity pot and this is a 600 milliliter capacity pot. However, to get 1 litre into this pot, I have measured it out, you've literally got to go right up to the lip, which is not practical. So in real use case scenarios, you're only going to be able to really get around 0.8 litres in here. However, with this pot, if you fill it up to the lip, you can get 0.8 litres in there. So again, that is not real practical use. 0.6 litres, let me show you on the lip here. It's about 1 inch from the top. So you can comfortably get 0.7 litres in here and boil it up. Whereas this one, probably around 0.8 litres, so there's not a huge amount in it, to be honest with you. Both pots have got the same diameter. Both have got extremely good wind resistance. The OEX has got fold out handles. The MSR has got a little plastic handle, whichever you prefer, to be honest with you. You can get these in different colours on the MSR as well. They do a red one which looks really nice. The burner heights are quite different as well, so the MSR's a lot taller, so it stands taller when you've got it set up. So the OEX has got a lower centre of gravity, so in theory it will be more stable. However, I've not had any problems with the MSR either. The piezo igniter makes a big difference, especially when trying to light the stove in windy conditions. So the MSR, if it is really windy, it's sometimes difficult to light it because it constantly blows out while you're trying to light it. Once you've got it lit and the pot's on, it doesn't blow out. But that initial lighting of the stove is really difficult. However, with the OEX, although it is not recommended and it's not the safest thing to do, you can actually light the stove while the pot is situated on it, so that makes it, you know, much easier in windy conditions. It's less likely to blow out. In fact, it doesn't blow out. But you can hear how loud it is. There's not a lot of water in there, but that is literally after 10-20 seconds. So anyway, what do you think? I like both of these stoves, so I haven't got to choose, but if it was your money, which one would you buy? So packing away, it is really easy. Literally unscrew the burner from the canister, fold in the regulator, and the OEX just fits in there like that. Gas canister goes on top. And then your lid. Nice little compact package. So as I've already mentioned, I've had this stove since spring last year, and I've had loads of people ask me why I've not been using it. Well, I've actually used this stove dozens and dozens of times now. However, I had it taken from me. It's performed that well. We used it once in the camper van, and Joe fell in love with it. Been so much better for making a brew in the camper van than the actual stove we've got in there, so she claimed it. But using it again today has made me realise how much I like this stove, so Joe, I'm taking it back. Sorry darling, you'll have to get your own. The MSR, pretty much the same. There's a little cloth that goes in the bottom. Whoop. Burner screws off. This burner, by the way, does have a nice little plastic area around there so you can get hold of it. Goes inside the pot. Canister on top, so you can only get 100 grams one. This just folds down. It does come with the stove. And then your lid on top. One thing to be wary of, make sure you don't put the lid on when you've got the cup on, because sometimes if you push the cup on too far, it is a real ball ache to get off. Because this is a tight lid, tight fitting lid. So that is on. Then your cup goes on. It's only like a push fit that. God, it's windy. But yeah, two really good compact stoves. Let me know which is your favourite in the comments below.